Hey guys, Andrew here, and welcome back to my Who Is or What Is God playlist. And so this is the second episode of the series. And in the first episode, in the introduction, I just talked to I was just trying to give you a piece of infinity, if you know what I mean. Like trying to let you look at the bigger picture of things, because like I was saying, there's all these different religions in which classify God under these certain characteristics, but God's bigger than that, from my point of view, at least. From my point of view, God created all of the people that created those characteristics. And so, He created our minds in a particular way to follow, like, certain, pathways in order to come to certain conclusions and, basically create what we call life. And so we have all these different religions and stuff, but I personally don't think that any of them like fully and accurately fit the description of God. And that's not saying like I disagree with your religion, or if you are an atheist that I disagree with atheism, because every single one of those religions have qualities of the truth. Some of them more accurate than others, and others just are more symbolic than the others. And others, like Buddhism, don't really even talk about God so much as just the spirit of the universe and how to like be in connection with the way that everything flows. And so that was what the introduction video was about, was just kind of opening up your perspective to allowing God to be more than what you were taught to believe. Because, everyone thinks, oh, I'm going to go to hell if, like, I don't believe in the right God because then I don't have faith that what I was told is right. But, you need to step out of that box, because it's not about going to heaven and going to hell. It's about treating people with love. It's about finding your purpose and your calling in life and making a difference and changing the world. That's all that God's about. God just wants you to be the best version of you, and to love other people the same way he loves other people, from my point of view. And so, it's not so much about having faith in the dude and getting to heaven and staying out of hell, but more about just doing the right thing in general, and then, the rewards will come afterwards, just either way. Alright, and so, if you believe in heaven, then, by all means, I'm glad to hear it for you. Hopefully it's true, I like to think that there's definitely some kind of afterlife that's better than Earth, because Earth is pretty much from the day you're born to the day you die, it's just a big ball of suffering. But the thing about that suffering is, in that life, your ups and downs, your suffering and your happiness, they contrast each other really well. They make it so that other people can see the way you lived. It gives all of the fruit, it gives all of the flavor to life, the good and bad together. And so God isn't bad and God isn't good. Alright, God's the creator of heaven and he's the creator of hell. And that's just like a basis, God's the creator of everything, alright? And in doing so, you have to realize that he had that thought in his mind. Like, everything comes from a thought. Like, I have in my consciousness playlist, everything that is a thought comes from intelligence, I should say. And any proof of intelligence, is eventually going to lead back to God, because he's the ultimate source of intelligence, of consciousness, of awareness. And so God, before anybody, was aware, conscious, and made the thought of hell. That scary ass, evil, disgusting, terrifying place. He made that. He made that zone. He made that area of creation. And the reason he made that area of creation is, like in pretty much all religions, it's a punishment. It's a it's supposed to be terrifying, scary, and evil, And so you have to, you can't just say God is super good in every single way, because God is also evil. Not evil, but scary, bad. He's terrifying, That's where the term fear of God comes from. He made hell and he will put you there, But I believe in a different version of hell than the image that probably pops into your head. I don't believe in a pit, lake of fire or whatever it is in the Bible and stuff. I believe much more in like an abyss, in like a low dimensional area that's void of all senses and void of all things like that, and that's what hell is. And so God made that area, this terrifying, black, painful, whatever area where you're just stuck and you can't escape and you don't know who you are and you don't know how to get out of it, and you don't, you're eternally freaking screwed, basically. And he made that place. And, I like to believe that God loves everybody, but at the same time, he had the idea of this place. I mean, like, it's really confusing to say, because I'm having the idea of this place, right? And so if I'm having the idea of it, then what I was saying in the beginning, he made my thought patterns and whatever to make this idea. But right now we're in a time and area and space of time in which we're starting to realize the depth of the universe that we're in. And so, the kind of pathway that I'm doing right now is paving a way to help people understand what is actually there. So just listen to me for a second on the fact that God made that evil place. So God is not only good, but he's also the epitome of evil. He is everything inside of the spectrum of good to evil. Obviously, he's super nice, he's super loving, he's super kind. I mean, for God's sakes, everything in his planet works out. Like any of you who have a wife, who've gotten married and actually enjoy your relationship, it's amazing. The miracle of childbirth and just the miracle of life in general, how things grew, how things started, how when you look up into the sky you see all of these stars and possibilities for life and all these things. It's it's magnificent, it's beautiful, it's spectacular. And this is just from a third dimensional perspective. When you go further up that vibrational frequency scale into higher dimensions, then the world gets even bigger. What you call air is a whole nother galaxy to somebody in whatever dimension. And so God is everything from unfathomable in our minds and hearts down to the worst thing we can possibly imagine and 10 times as far. Alright, and so that's just the only reason I'm saying that is to help you grasp, what God is. Alright, you can be afraid of the devil, you can be afraid of demons if you want, but the one sorry for cussing, the one person that you need to be afraid of is God. God's terrifying. He's able to completely destroy anything that he created in the snap of a finger, all powerful, all wise. It could take hundreds and millions of years and millennia to catch up with him, and that's assuming that time is even relevant to him. Maybe he can just teleport throughout time wherever he wants to. The vastness of God is absolutely miraculous. Alright, and so yeah, what I wanted this video to be about, for the most part, which I already touched on, is just that God isn't necessarily this good, almighty, all-powerful, loving, polite being. He's also the epitome of evil destruction, the face of Satan, 10 times uglier than the face of Satan, and that's just he can be. Picture his emotions, alright? You have your emotions, happy, sad, angry, and pissed, and then God has his happy, sad, angry, and pissed, and they all look 550,000 times more powerful than yours, alright? And then he has everything in between that, too. He can be any of those things on the whole entire range. And so, yeah, the point of me saying that is just so you recognize that everything created is created by God, good and evil, and these things exist particularly to punish things that choose to do the wrong thing and things that choose to do the right thing, alright? And so everybody has a thing called intuition. Everybody has a thing that leads them in the right direction, that says, yeah, I think this is right, yeah, this is wrong. And just so long as you're following that, yeah, I think this is right voice in your head, then you can't go wrong, because even if you find out that you made the wrong choice, you're doing the best that you possibly can. And like your teachers always said, if you're doing your best, then that's good enough. Alright, and so that's the truth. That's actually something that should resonate with you as, true. And so, yeah, God is also the epitome of truth. He doesn't lie. He's not deception. He created deception. That's a better way for me to put it, alright? God created everything. God isn't evil, and God isn't deceiving, but he created deception to lead us astray, and he created evil to try to control us. But he's supporter of freedom, and he's the truth. He is, love and everything. But he created everything on this side, particularly so that you would have to make the choice. That's what free will is for. When Adam and Eve ate from the tree of knowledge, that's what they opened up, is this little polarity opposite thing where you can choose, do you want to do good or bad? That's what free will is for. And if you choose to do bad, then you're going down that way. If you choose to do good, you're going down that way. And this is a universe ruled by free will. So I don't know if we're just trapped in this universe ever since Adam and Eve or what, but and there's other universes, that's the Garden of Eden and heaven and all that, and this one is just the one where everything has free will. But a tree can grow whichever way it wants. It can die if it doesn't want to live. A bird can run into a window and if it wants to, And I mean, obviously some of these things are a lot more complicated than that, but you just have to recognize that God made everything in the scale. I mean, you don't have to do anything. Again, the reason I'm making this series is just to kind of elaborate on what my opinion of God is, and to kind of relate with you. And if you agree with me, awesome. Maybe I can help you deeper understand your God, your creator, and your universe. And that's all that this is for. So, I'm just trying to give my opinion on what this is. I feel like, I'm saying a lot of things that people disagree with. And I'm kind of a little bit off of topic and stuff, but I'm still getting the hang of it. And with a topic like God, there's just so much to go off of that it's I'm just trying to find a way to make the best episode I possibly can for you. But yeah, I wish I had a whole bunch of fans and viewers and supporters and stuff that actually watch my videos, and they could leave me comments and stuff that say, yeah, dude, we love your videos, just do 45-minute videos and explain it to me and everything. But personally, from everybody I've talked to and just the way that attention span works, people don't like too big and too long videos. So I'm just kind of trying to wrap this up here and give you the main point of everything. And that main point, I guess, for this video is God's the creator of everything, good and bad. And you don't need to be afraid of the devil, and you don't need to be afraid of demons, because, they're not actually as scary as God. And on top of that, you have the free will choice to choose good or bad. And heaven and hell are just rewards or punishments for what you do. Alright, and that just goes that's just a baseline for every religion. My common sense, what makes sense to me. I hope it resonates with you and makes sense to you too, and that it actually helps you, not be so afraid of terrifying things, and realize that all you have to do to live a good life is make the right free will choice. It's not hard, You don't have to go to church and read the Bible and say a prayer and, make sure that you're being healthy, and you don't need to love everybody. But if those are all the things that you think are the right thing to do, then yeah, do them. That's what the 10 Commandments are for. They're the baseline of what is good. And if you follow those things, then you're good. You're going to be good, alright? And, they're not easy to follow, but it's that's the way to go. Obviously that's the way to go. And the reason it's obvious that's the way to go is because you're going to run into walls that are Satan trying to pull you back. They're gonna be nah, that's, who goes to church 6 days a week? Not everybody does that. It's yeah, that's because most of the people in this world are evil people. They're not good people. Of course, most of the people don't go to church and read their Bible and pray. That's because it's hard. It takes discipline and dedication, and it's actually something that you have to work to get better at. And so, anything with those core baselines, they're not easy, but they do help you be more healthy and, expand your mind and become more aware of yourself, the world around you, and a more loving and kind, compassionate individual. That's the right path. And, I guess the last thing I want to add before I end this out is, if you decide to take the other route, the deceptive, evil, terrible route, that's not necessarily bad. God made that also for a training ground. You know, if you want to feel hopeless and if you want to feel lost, you can. But God forgives all sins. God accepts anyone. At the end of time, God's going to accept Satan, you know? And that's just my intuition or premonition. That's my prophecy of what I think is going to happen. Is God's going to accept Satan under his belt once Satan realizes that, you know, deceiving humanity isn't going to work very well for him. And, you know, he pretty much wasted the past however long of his life trying to work against God. And as soon as he realizes that, he'll be back on the path of light. And so you can go all the way down this demonic, terrible, Luciferian, control freak, psychopath, you know, whatever you want to call it, all these bad things. You can go down that route. You can do that stuff. You can kill people. You can murder. You can steal. And that's not me saying you should do that. I'm just saying if that's what you want to do, then you have free will for a reason, bro. I mean, pull up on me with that shit, you're gonna get straight up dropped. Like, just because I've been, you know, a decent way down this path. I know what hell looks like. You know, I know what that feels like. I know being surrounded by demons. I know being controlled by Satan, I would say. Like, I wasn't ever, like, straight possessed, but I just know, like, you know, I know death. And because I know death and I found God and God saved me from that position, I'm able to no longer be afraid of these things. You know, if I want to venture down that way, it's a pathway that I can take. And so it's the same way for you. Alright, and I'm going to end the video off here. Hopefully that helps you out. Hopefully you don't do these bad things, and hopefully you do these good things. But my point in telling you you can go down this bad route is to remind you that you have free will. You were given the choice to go down that route because it's a learning ground. It's a place where you can learn about bad, where you can learn about suffering, where you can learn about evil and how it's not as good as love and trust and purity, alright? And so, you know, if you're so far down this path that you feel like you're unaccepted, that no one loves you, that you're never going to be able to find your way back, it's just a free will choice. You literally just need to make a free will choice to get back on the right path. That's God's universe in a nutshell. I hope it helps you out. I hope you guys choose the right path. I hope you go down the right way. You know, get yourself a spot in heaven, or just simply enjoy a beautiful life, whatever it may be for you and your religion and your culture or whatever. But, you know, God does exist, and God did make everything. That's the base core line. You can be an atheist if you want, but you can't tell me this is all random and it all came from a big bang that came from wherever you want to pull out of your butt. It was made by God, obviously. But anyways, that's the end of this series, guys. Hope you enjoy, and I'll catch you later. Peace out. Have a good one.